welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. What I'm going to do, I'm back into my weekly reviews. So I'm going to review last week's price action, go buy replay using the strategy that I use, and going to see what we could have got last week. This one's pretty important to me. I don't think I traded it well. I know I didn't trade it well. I ended up with about 1%, slightly over 1% for the week, when I know the opportunities were there to get much more than that. So we're going to see. I'm going to still run it through buy replay. It's still fresh in my mind, but we're going to see all the opportunities, the ones I took, the ones I missed, the ones I stuffed up on. I'm only human. It happens. But you're going to see this. I'm going to point out different things that I noticed and what I took and what I didn't take and why I didn't take it. A really big lesson to learn from this week was that, we don't make the price of the market. So a lot of us, me included, and the group, we were looking for some sort of reversal to happen. Euro had been trending super hard, going up this week, and we just figured that it was like overdue for a reversal, or at least a pullback. However, we were waiting for that pullback, waiting, and while we're waiting, we missed a lot of long opportunities to keep following this powerful trend up, unfortunately. It's a really good lesson to learn, really good something to take note of, that trend is your friend. You're better off trading with the trend until you lose than trying to counter trend trade until you win. I think that's super important. We're going to see that this week as well. I think as well, we're still in a very strong uptrend. And yeah, so what I'll do is once I finish this video, we're going to have a look at what we have upcoming for the week as well. And yeah, I'm going to get into that now. Hope you guys enjoy. If you like my videos, go back and have a look. I just put a really awesome one out about order blocks and high probability order blocks, which I'm going to use that strategy in today's video. That's how I'm trading from going forward. I'm playing around with the last rule with imbalance where the stop loss is, and you'll see that today as well. So yeah, like and subscribe, comment below if you enjoyed this and want to see something more like this or any questions at all. But I'm going to jump into the video now. Awesome. All right, so we've got blank Euro USD. I've used a replay tool, so we're back to Sunday night, I'm pretty sure. What I'll do is I'll just do a quick reminder. If you haven't watched the last video, I'll link it below. Actually, I don't know if I have it in here. Okay. All good. So pretty much what I'm looking for in terms of order blocks is I want to have I'm really looking for valid flip zones and extreme order blocks. If you don't understand any of this, go back and link it in the below to watch this really good explainer video. I'm looking for the order blocks to have produced imbalance or inefficiency. I'm looking for them to obviously have broken structure or cause a change of character. I want them to have swept, either local liquidity or major liquidity before being created. And I'm pretty sure that is everything. Yeah, so also the one rule as well, I don't want imbalance directly below or above, depending if it's a short or a long OB. So essentially, I don't want imbalance where my stop loss is going to be sitting. So I'm playing around with a few different interesting ways of managing that, depending on the size of the imbalance below, whether I just cover it with my stop loss or I look for the next valid order block that's below that imbalance. So we're going to play around with that today, because that's still sort of a work in progress in terms of that, because it doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. So let's get into it. I'll start with my top-down analysis and give you a brief description of the indicators I use. I just use the sessions to mark out all the different trading sessions. I use this one to mark out my imbalances, or imbalances, obviously. I actually just use this to, when I'm marking up later. It's a second sessions indicator, but interesting enough, I've just put in a session. I've edited it so what times I can trade, which is, it's a little bit different to that. I'm now trading from like 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. and so I can just see what was available in my actual trading time easily and quickly. And then I sometimes use this market structure indicator. So it draws on these breaks of structure. I don't always agree with it, so I don't use it all the time. But sometimes it just helps get a good idea of it as well. But I'm going to turn it off now, because I think it's important to learn market structure from the ground up, and so you actually can know if this indicator is wrong or right, or if it suits what you're looking for. So pretty much as you saw from the indicator, we'll start with the daily chart. We're obviously in an uptrend. We had a break of structure here on the daily, and then our next break of structure here. If you look at any of my other previous videos, I've pretty much analyzed this perfectly. When we were here, we wanted us to have we expected us, after we had this daily chalk up here, which I'll mark out just so you can understand. As soon as we had this daily chalk, we were expecting us to come back to the extreme, and the extreme order block here that swept liquidity, produced imbalance, broke structure is the extreme order block. And what did we do? We came back into it and we pushed and broke the new daily high. And so what we had almost identical. Okay, a little bit more manipulation up here, but in the end, this is our daily high. We call it a weak high because we're in an uptrend and we're expecting it to be broken. So I'm just going to mark it out here. Give us a second. Sorry for the week. Okay. Okay, perfect. And this was our new daily low. So essentially, we pretty much called that as well. We were looking at, it was a massive daily order block, but it was valid. It swept liquidity, pushed out with imbalance. It eventually broke structure. And what we did, we retraced into it, got some like reversal patterns, and we're heading up expecting to break this high here. So what we were looking for on a daily as well, I think we had a first rejection from it, is how we get our areas that we might look for reversals is on a higher time frame of old market structure where we had valid order blocks that are unmitigated. So, we did mitigate this one. We haven't fully mitigated to the 45, so there's potential for still reversal out of here. However, we had seen a huge reaction out of it this time. So it's not that often you'll get another big one, especially if we didn't break this low and we've already retraced. So, shorts out of here essentially are low probability, and then anything above it, maybe this is the next area on the daily that we probably looking for, because really, okay, there's little bits and pieces, but there's not really major nice structure here. So I'll just mark out that one for now. Pardon me. And I think that's everything on the daily so far. You can pretty much see, so what a few people get confused about is the external structure versus internal structure. So you can see like we've had like little breaks of structure internally here, which I will take trades out of these breaks of structure until we break this high time frame of structure. And then I'm looking back at, I'm analyzing this whole thing as one leg, not these intermediate legs. But as soon as we get back into this main discount zone, I'm definitely looking for strength. So, we had like little internal daily breaks of structure here. We had this here. We ended up getting, a sweep on the daily, which shows quite a big sign of strength. Sweep, sweep, sweep. And then we've had another break of structure here. And we're essentially looking to break this high here and eventually this high as well. So we could really probably put this into as well as a daily point of interest. Even if we come back to it now, we're going to be targeting something like the highs there. So I'll just mark this out because it's quite relevant. I mark this with the label as well, just so we know that it's a daily. And essentially what we'll do, we'll jump down to the 4 hours now. Okay, perfect. Let's have a look. Very impulsive. Really, we had the 4 hour chalk down, then it sort of like played through. However, we'd have to have a look. This is like our premium discount. Yeah, we've pretty much come down. Sometimes on the 4 hour, I like to look at this golden zone here. We don't always get to the 50%. Yeah, we've tagged into that. So that's definitely, this is just a 45 to 55. So it gives a little bit more of a range than right on the equilibrium. Euro loves to come into this area, especially on the daily and the 4 hour. 15, it usually comes a little bit deeper. But it's just something to note there as well. I thought I'd share that with you. It's a little bit thing I've been trying out. Backtest it yourself, see what you find. But on Euro USD, it's pretty nice. So as soon as we got this chalk, and then we had this next push down, we tagged into here. For me, shorts were getting pretty, low probability. However, we didn't really break any major structure. And so then we got another sweep to the lows last week. And then we ended up with our 4 hour chalk bullish. Just remember, we're looking for these types of things because we are daily uptrend. We're pretty much 4 hour uptrend except for this 4 hour chalk that we had, which I'll show you here. And then this is like a 4-hour high that we're looking to break. Okay. So essentially we'll be looking at, I guess this is like a flip zone, you would say, because it's the last one before we chopped. And then the extreme, they're sort of like morphed into one. So we'll be having a look at this total area if we come back to it for like some 15-minute chock to just keep pushing higher. So that's pretty much everything. We're essentially looking to break this, looking to break this. So longs is where we're going. We're daily uptrend, 4-hour uptrend again, and looks like 15 uptrend. So let's have a look. We had this as well on the 15, which I'll bring across. So essentially where we had this 4-hour, well, I think 4-hour breaker structure, 4-hour chock, whatever you want to call it. You can call it chock, I think. It was pretty much the 15-minute. You know, we had it a bit earlier. That's like the beauty of the 15-minute, you know, so you had a bit of a chance that you could have been like, this is our chock. Get in on this extreme. Would have been pretty tight. It was looking to sweep the lows, but create equal lows, and then you can move up from there. And then you had like a 15-minute break of structure right here, which is like the main structure break. We've then since had small breaks of structure here. These are ones that really like are good for when you're like trending markets like we have, because you sometimes don't get these big pullbacks. You know, so essentially like this is the most recent sort of break of structure. So, you know, potentially there's something that could reject here. However, for me, it's a little bit tricky because we've got this huge amount of imbalance below, so it doesn't really fit my my rules. So right now, I don't really have like a great, probably just this flip zone here, I would say, from the last break of structure, this major one, and the extreme. You know, potentially we might have like a sweep of these because they're like lined up like this. There's also, I guess, this one that's kind of interesting. We'd have a look. What we want to do is to draw premium and discount. With the 15-minute, I'll just go back to the normal one. Yeah, it's still pretty much this one that I'm that interested in. You know, it doesn't have to come back. That's the thing about people. They're thinking, oh, I never came back to the discount zone. It's sort of just, it's not a hard and fast rule. Nothing is in trading. What it is it's over data over time. Paul and myself back tested now. Paul's done a lot of back testing that found that's like a high probability entry point because you're getting in in the discount zone, which means we've had a nice pullback. If we're a trending market, we're getting in at the deepest point possible on the pullback to maximize our risk versus reward and the highest probability because we've already had that pullback and now we want to move forward again. So it doesn't always pull back into these areas, but you know, that's it. You know, more often than not, it does. You know, if that makes sense. So probably leave all the rest. You know, potentially there's something here because that's the most recent one, but so much imbalance below. There's something here. In the, you know, it's in the premium zone. So let's just get started. Yeah, what I'll just mark up here as well is, you know, this is our 15 high. And, you know, low's always all the way down there. So, yeah, let's keep an eye on that. It's pretty much, yeah, just like spread hours stuff, nothing that I'm that interested in. A bit of liquidity there, so we could like sweeps the highs and then, you know, we get that pushback. You know, we're just still so much in the premium zone. Let's just have a look what I was talking about here. You wonder if this gets swept. It has held, created shock, pullback. Honestly, it's just, you know, that would be super aggressive trading with, you know, all the imbalance below being in the premium zone. This is just, it's not how I trade. Maybe it does play out sometimes, but it's just, yeah, it's very, very aggressive trading. So be interesting to see. We have pretty much equal highs there. So we took all this liquidity, we pushed back down. We've then swept these lows, still held this area pretty impressively. Okay. Yeah, so there we go. You could have taken a trade out there. It's just not how I trade. So just too aggressive. Like I said, that's a good point. You know, these do play out. So, you know, just because you're waiting for this doesn't mean that, you know, your strategy is wrong. You know, a lot of people think, oh, no, it's not working, blah, blah, blah. but it's, you know, it's just the probabilities playing out of time over time. No strategy is 100%. So you just have to remember that. Okay. So that's pretty nice. That's another breaker structure, which I'll change that to. And we've got a new 15-minute low. And yeah, we're moving up. Okay, we had like probably something interesting that we have here. You know how I talk about the flip zone? It doesn't look that obvious on the 15-minute. You know, I don't trade this way, but, well, you know, sometimes I do look on the 5, especially with such impulsive markets. I bet you there's like a nice order block on the 5-minute that, yeah. So we've got like here, swept some structure. Okay, balance below, but it's on a, like literally the flip zone has held and we've pushed up. So that's like, that's the sort of, if you can't see, sorry, I'll mark it out. These are the sort of areas that I talk about flip zone. It's the area, literally the battle order block that led to the break of structure. So it's pretty cool that played out. It's not something I would have taken. I just wanted to show you, like, so you have a bit of understanding. Here. So we're pushing up. We've got a little break of structure here. Not that interested. It's got imbalance below. Mark that out. And it didn't really sweep any liquidity. It just tapped and moved up. So I won't be taking that. Something I'm sort of experimenting with is, let me just have a look what it looks like on the 5 minutes. I definitely play around with the 5 minutes a little bit more these days. If it's, you know, we got like a big candle like this, underneath imbalance, underneath like what would people would think about order blocks. So a lot of people are going to be taking SMC, like traders taking this one out. You know, so if there's like a nice valid order block right below, it's like kind of like a sandwich order block, I've been noticing, then sometimes it's worthwhile, you know, yeah, so there's big imbalance there. So it is quite the sandwich order block. What I'll do, this is just for research purposes. I don't want to confuse you guys too much. It's just doing the same, literally the same strategies on 5 minutes. But it's something I wanted to test, and I like to do it like, you know, live while you guys are watching, because then, you know, people don't think I'm just like making up the results or anything like that. So let's just see. I'll just mark that out. I'm not going to take a trade from it. It's just something I see because it's like imbalance. This one, it's like liquidity. So we've got like a bit of a sandwich. This one's nice because if you look on the 5 minute, it actually did sweep some liquidity. Let's go back to it. You know, so we've taken out this low, these lows, this low. So it's taken actually quite, whereas this one, you know, it's just, there's not really been anything. There's these, okay, there's a little bit here, but nothing like that moved up the leg. You know, it didn't even take out this low. So we'll see what happens. We're still moving up. The other one, obviously, is the extreme, which is good. Swept those lows and, yeah, pushed up with a balance above it. Okay. I'll mark that out too. All right. So this is experimental trade. This was the one we'd actually take. So let's have a look. Okay, we've got another break. Absolutely bullish, hey. There, break of structure, nothing. We got this, break of structure. What are we, 9 o'clock at night? Not really something I'm going to trade. There's nothing really, you know, it's pretty tiny. You know, potentially there'd be something available on the 5 minute, but I don't see any obvious sweeps here. I can have a quick look on the 5. There. I'm just going to leave this. It's getting pretty late in the day. It's not really not really a time I would be taking trades. You know, we're into spread hours. And so we'll see what. Okay. Looks like this little sweep down held. But we've got, yeah, we had like a little spread hour break of structure and then a sweep and then another break of structure in the end. Not really, you know, like this huge thing is, I guess, the extreme. But, you know, We've had this, but you know, there's nothing really, it didn't really break structure, sort of just grinding up, grinding up, grinding up. Okay. You know, there's like these tiny little breaks of structure here, which, you know, obviously you potentially could have got in on. But for me, it's not really like, okay, we're super bullish. It is, I guess, kind of, there's some probabilities there. There's an order block there, but it's probably not like, this isn't some sort of pullback that I would trade. You know, maybe it looks better on the 5 minutes. Let's just jump down. Not really, to be honest. So yeah, I agree with what I said the first time. It's not something that I would trade. Okay, now this one's a bit better. It's a bit nicer, actually, like a bit of more of a candle pullback and like a break of structure. We've just taken out a high. I think that's a 4-hour high as well, so that's good to note. But just absolutely, you know, pumping. So what I was saying, this is a bit of a tricky one. Okay, so we broke structure. We've taken out a 4-hour high. We've taken out 4-hour liquidity. You know, theoretically, this is the order block that we're looking for, but you know, we've got equal lows here. This is sort of like this whole leg here from when we moved up. You know, it's not something that I'm that interested in. You know, probably the only valid order block I'd be really interested in would be this one, because it's the only thing that actually like fully swept liquidity. I'd have to have a look, see if it was like how much it was mitigated. But the thing is, it doesn't really fit the extreme or flip zone argument, because this whole leg is just kind of like just a full grind up. Sorry, I didn't mean to mark that as a balance. Oh, did I just do it again? Maybe I'll just cut this out. 15-minute POI. Need another coffee, I think. Let me see. Whoops. I'll put those in the bloopers. So essentially, you know, what I try to teach in the group as well is, you know, if you feel like you're trying to force a trade, then maybe there's not one there, or it's not high probability. It's not like a nice A+ setup, you know, because this, you know, okay, this has swept liquidity, but it's like partially mitigated. It's in this like kind of shitty grind up leg. Hopefully, I don't know how it is with swearing on YouTube, but you know, so it's better to wait. What is the time as well? Set 6:30. So let's see where we move. Probably get some. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Sorry, that went quick. Oh, that's why, because I'm on 3x. Okay. Well, yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to go so quick. Anyway, we'll mark it out. So pretty much we're at another break of structure here. No, I just won't mark it. But you know, you can see this. It's like this whole area here is just kind of like, I don't know. I just don't see any super strong OBs for me, at least, you know, especially here, this one as well. Like people are like, oh, you got another break of structure, you know, and then I'm thinking, okay, we got imbalance directly below where my stop loss is going to be, imbalance. So potentially I could look at this like, you know, sandwich order, which it looks like where it tapped into. However, we pretty much just swept liquidity and then pushed up, and I guess technically got a break of structure. Break of structure, swept, break of structure, coming back down. What's this on? Yeah, we're coming into London Open, so it'd be interesting to see if they sweep those lows again. So I wouldn't take a trade out of that, no. All right, hold on a second. Yeah. All right, so now we've got a chock. So we're just broken into a 4-hour. It's probably must be a 4-hour POI here. Let's have a look. Also, the factors, it's quite interesting. We did break this 4-hour high, but, you know, we've closed back inside this range, which means, you know, it shows a slight sign of weakness. So that I'd be happy to like, you know, get a bit of a pullback, you know, the 4-hour pullback into like a 4-hour discount zone, which I should mark up. Now we have 15-minute chock, so I can get like a good idea of, you know, if we're shorting the market, where should we target? think theoretically this was the last actual 4-hour leg. We do have this entire move as well up. But I think we'd need like some sort of 4-hour chalk to get us into that area. I would be more conservative with using this leg just, because we're so bullish. Have a look. Yeah. You can see that we did 4-hour, sort of gave a bit away. Anyway, go back on the 15. So we've got chalk here. All this is like mitigated, no sweeps, no sweeps. This is quite nice here. Let's mark it up. I can explain as well how I do my entries. It's quite dynamic. I haven't seen too many people do it this way, so it's still a work in progress. But what I do is I'm on the 15-minute chart. I'm looking at my 15-minute order block. I cover the wick. Okay, how big is my order block? My order block is 5.5. So what I do is if this order block was 5 pips or less, I leave the entry on the edge. If it's between 5 pips in size and 7 pips, I move my entry to the 25 line. If it's between 7 pips and 10 pips, I'm looking at the 45 line. And then if it's more than 10 pips, I'm playing around with either just leaving it on the 45 line or going down to the 5-minute and then repeating the first 2 rules on the 5-minute. Okay. There we go. I give 0.5 of a pip for spreads. This would be, what did I say? It was 5.7, so it'd be on the 25. Realistically, I'm probably going to just target the 50% line. We're very, very bullish. I don't really have, there's not that much that really interests me in terms of marking out for longs. There's nothing that's like fits my my strict rules on order blocks for longs. So let's see. I think what I want to explain as well, when you're going counter trend, the highest probability take profit is the next 15-minute breaker structure. Because we know we can easily just wick this and then we continue the uptrend. We collect this liquidity and then we keep going up. So the highest probability to take profit is just the next breaker structure, especially counter trend. I'm happy to bring this a little bit further because this next breaker structure is still quite in the premium zone. So, we potentially have a bit more to run. But as soon as we break this low, I would start trailing my stop loss with a counter trend trade. I trade pro trend much differently, but counter trend, I'm trailing my stop loss as soon as we break this low because I know we can easily quickly come back and just give away all that profit. So let's just see how this plays out. Nice tag. Oh, big impulsive move through. If you had it on the 50%, you've just hit your take profit for 5. Yeah, just about 5R. Anything from here, shorts become low probability. So I'm not interested in this for shorts, this next. Even though it looks nice, swept liquidity, big imbalance, push down to break structure, it's just not something that I'm that interested in. Pretty much what we're waiting for now that we're in the discount zone is we're looking for some sort of like strength on the 15 here. There's a few areas that we could, potentially get. I think this is like a whole 4-hour area. I can show you that on the 4-hour. It's probably going to reveal a bit of stuff, but just so you understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, see how this 4-hour, a huge 4-hour point of interest. We can mark that out. Maybe we tag into that, maybe we don't. But we're looking for now, some sort of strength on the 15-minute, some sort of 15-minute chalk in here, breaker structure. Let's see if New York gives us that. Yeah, so we're waiting for a chalk here. Hold on a second. So pretty much a break and a close above this level I'm watching for now. This one's all closed out, 5R. Pretty beautiful trade. Okay, let's hold for a second. So we swept it, and then we've held the low. We've got like a bit of an internal break here. It's pretty aggressive. Let me see. It's like this is sort of the lows held, and then we've got this internal order block that's been broken above. So it'd be pretty aggressive but we're in like a really aggressive uptrend. So I'd be pretty happy to take this. Ideally, I'd wait for it to close above this level. But I reckon there's probably been a pretty nice like chop on the 5 minutes, which Pro 10 sometimes can be enough. Let's just see how this plays out. Essentially, we're just looking for a new break of this high, because this is our new 4-hour high here. Well, yeah, 4-hour, 15-minute high. Hey, sorry. And again, chart on here. A nice sweep. Good internal little breaker structure in there too. Let's have a look. We really want longs. We're in an uptrend. We want longs. We want longs. 903. Okay, that's going to put us on the 45. Let's see if we get tagged in. Target here. Oh, 7.5 could be nice. Okay. Whoa, we would have just missed that tag. Maybe. I'd have to look on my broker. I'll leave that one there. Sort of we had a confirmation shock, I guess, here. So, you know, if we're waiting for the break above, this is what we're trying to enter in. The same target. Measure this out. 6.2, 0.25. Let's keep following this up. Oh, did I press play? No. Okay. All right, we're in overnight. This is still valid. We haven't created a new structure. What do we get here? No broke. Oh. No broken structure here. No. Okay, let's have a look. I'll zoom in a bit. Sorry. I'm not looking closer at the screen. Probably looks funny on the video. Yeah, I don't know. Tell me. I like to have my face here so you can like actually, you know, see me talking, know who's talking to you, and all that sort of stuff. I'm not always looking at the camera, obviously, because I'm looking at my screen across. I use like a big monitor to mark out my charts and everything, because it's just better than my, you know, laptop screen. So that's why I'm not always looking at the camera. I might buy like a different camera that I can sit across my on my monitor, so it's actually a bit better like communication. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, so we pretty much had this break. Guess we've got like an extreme here that I'm not like a big fan of because of this imbalance below. And not fully mitigated, semi-mitigated. I'm kind of like a bit of a fan of this though. It's kind of like the, I don't know, the flip zone, even though it's right there, but it's like, you know, the only thing that swept so much liquidity. So, you know, realistically, probably going to sweep these and come under it. So if I was trading Australian session, I would probably trade this. I don't, but just to give you an idea, it's a huge order block though. So let's have a quick look. 7.5, 9.5. Oh no, hold on. 7.9. Yeah, so it's still in the 45, which sort of is not a bad spot because I could sweep some liquidity there. Zoom out slightly and push up. Pull this across. Big push up. Nah, too bullish. Target has been hit. Okay, so let's have a look. Push past that high. Okay, what do we got now? I'm going to just delete this, it's in the way. I'll delete this, never came back to it. got like a nice here. Let's draw up our break of structures over here. There's like internal and external. Maybe go on the 4 hour, have a look. Yeah, it's a 4 hour break, but we don't know where the high is because we haven't had like a flip around yet. So we're just interested on the 15-minute at this point. Once we get a 15-minute chock, then we look at the 4 hour to see if, you know, where the premium discount, because that's when you can expect a bit more of a pullback. Right now, we're just looking at this 15-minute leg up. And, you know, we've got this, something else I talked about. We've got this area, a flip zone. However, we've got the discount below, but we've got a perfect order block. Imbalance below. We've got a perfect, nice order block here. Actually, the swept liquidity created imbalance. We've got, you know, what we consider, I guess, almost a flip zone, except it's invalidated because of the imbalance below. And so what I'm playing with, because we see these often, like I mentioned earlier, is you've got like a sandwich here. You know, it's like sandwiched between, like this imbalance is sandwiched between two order blocks. And so this is what I'm happy to take. So this is what I would consider the valid flip zone. Even though we've got there's something here, it's not valid. You know, it's sort of just like an inducement, like, you know, set up for liquidity to come get it. You know, this is actually an invalid flip zone because it's the last valid order block that led to the break of structure. This isn't a valid order block. So yeah, maybe people get a bit confused there, but you know, if this didn't have imbalance below and everything like that, this would be the flip zone. It would be the last valid order block. But because there's imbalance below, it's invalidated for me. So this one's next. And people might say, oh, we're going to balance here, but it's not directly where the stop loss is going to be. It's a bit further down. Okay, so that's the difference there. This is right below, you know, so it's very like screaming for it to be taken. Hold on a second. I want to change this to imbalance. Whatever lets me. So yeah, I would be interested in this one. Let me have a look. 15-minute POI. I'm not really interested in this one anymore. And the extreme here. So I'll be interested. Well, not really even the extreme because of the imbalance below. So really only this one. The rest looks just like liquidity that we might come down to deeper. But let's see. We don't have a target yet because we haven't put in a high. But realistically, if we wanted to, this is our 4 hour point of interest up here. Actually, do we have our break of structure still? Oh my goodness. Oh, it's annoying. So that 4 hour, there's no daily up there. Realistically, theoretically, you could target up there. I'm never that ambitious because, you know, I know that we can have pullbacks in the market. So like potentially I would, you know, maybe target the daily again or target, you know, because that would sweep some of these liquidity, which, you know, could trigger like a pullback a little bit. So maybe that's what I would do if we don't have like a clear area for going long. However, theoretically, you can target the daily high. It's just pretty ambitious. You might want to like follow your trailing stop loss or something like that, because we could have, you know, big market rejections if that happens. Okay, so what we do, let's have a look. I'll get my Gantt chart out. This one. $3.2, so we just enter on the edge. Don't forget more crazy than that. And be looking, where is this? Oh, there. So we'll be looking for this daily up here. That's where we had rejection from last time. You know, like according to the strategy, like I said before, the highest probability is taking this next break of structure on the 15. However, we're pro-trend on all time frames, so being a bit more ambitious is fine. Especially when there's not much in between here. You know, the market can move pretty quickly. Okay, so I've had a slight bit of a sweep here. little bit of a sweep here. Thing is, we're not in any 4-hour POI, daily POI, so I'm not really that keen on looking for any sort of chalk. Let's wait it out. Okay, so we had a bit of a sweep here. Bit of a breaker structure here. So theoretically, you could have looked for some sort of point of interest out of here, but nothing that really interests me in terms of sweeping. A little bit of imbalance behind, but we were coming into Frankfurt Open, so it's going to have to search for liquidity somewhere. Okay, so like I said, we weren't looking for chalk in this area. Okay, maybe it's played out here slightly. You could have, but I stick to my rules. I want to look for chalk in like high time frame areas of interest, and this wasn't that. It wasn't really screaming out to me. This is sort of just like in between sorts of stuff. I'm still looking for this. It's my valid sort of flip zone. I haven't changed my mind on that. It's like a sandwich area. I think still uptrend. It's in the discount zone as well. So let's see. Okay. Yeah. Okay, where did that reject from? That we tagged in on the edge? Yes. Beauty. Perfect. Yeah, so that's what the key is looking for. Okay, you could have had a scalp in here, but there's often times where you'll just get this liquidity sweep in an uptrend and you just keep pushing up. So okay, they can happen anywhere, but they're high probabilities in high time frame areas. And I didn't identify any that were that interesting to me, so I did not take any shorts down to here. Potentially there was opportunity to, but that just wasn't. I was more focused on longs, more focused on the pro trend, and we have got that one. It's gone way off the screen, and we already hit target maybe. Oh yeah, wow, absolutely smashed the target. Okay, so that's 13R. Insane. Obviously could have gone more. Still going. What could we have here? 17R. Yeah, crazy. We'll leave it at a target. That's what I mean. When you're in an uptrend and there's nothing much in between, it's better to be a little bit ambitious. If you're pro 4-hour, pro daily, pro 15, go ahead and shoot for the moon. So we're going to take profit on that. We then have broken this high. Not that much options there because we're moving so impulsively. That's like a huge pullback here, but there's imbalance below, so I'm not really keen to take orders out of that. Potentially this one here, that mitigated the extreme. That's now the extreme. I'll mark that up. But let's see. This is the daily high here. So it'd be interesting what happens once we break that. All right. Well, we're just absolutely pumping up. So we've broken the high. We've claimed the high. Literally here. So these, I like to say that as well. I think I pointed this out in the group actually when it happened. I think I was watching it. These support resistance flips do happen. So it's not like these retail strategies don't work ever. It's just there's a lot more fake outs than there are breakouts, So look at this. We're against it. We pushed it and flipped it to almost the pip and then took off. So there's merit in it. So I'm nothing against people that trade that way. There is merit to it, and you would have had a cracking trade right there. However, it's just there's so many fake outs trying to trade breakout trading that you're better off waiting for the pullbacks and getting that better risk to reward with this strategy than trying to buy once the move's already happened or happening. It's just a bit more high risk. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Whether you care about it or not, that's up to you. All right, we are pumping up. It's getting pretty late, so I would assume we're probably just going to do some pretty ugly ranging as it comes in after a huge move like that. Yeah, we've got a little bit of breaker structure. Nothing that I'm really interested in at this time of night, especially after the huge moves. Like I said, the move's already happened today, so I think it's better off. Let's zoom in a bit. It looks like we're putting in like a little high that we can actually get some. Made a little break. You probably could have entered on this, but balanced below, a bit low probability break. Didn't pull back into it. Got a break. What time is it now? Yeah, coming into spread hours. Potentially this holds. but I'm not taking trades during spread hours. If I'm already in a trade and I'm holding it and I'm well in profit, no worries, that's fine by me. But taking it, right here when the spreads can be like 8 pips or more, it's just like asking to get stopped out. So I'll like wait, see if we get anything. I'll just mark out the high. So I forget to do it just because with my eye, I know, that's a high there. Sort of what we're looking to break. The low's all the way down here. So far away now. And this is our premium discount area. We're super bullish. We've just had a huge breakout. Not really like extreme is what I'm interested in. This may hold. Looks like it will. But yeah, just seeing if we break structure and then we can keep moving up. So let's go. Let me just, wonder if I pause that. Okay, so we broke structure. There we go. Okay. Let's break a structure. I'll label that. Looks like what we said. This New York order block that swept a little bit of liquidity here, caused some balance, broke some intermediate structure, did hold. So valid order block held, not taking it in spread hours, but valid. We've now got what? This sweep, or are these equal lows? No, I think it swept. Broke structure, this is extreme. Got in balance. Okay, mind you, it's on Australian session, but if it was just one tap in and go, I'd be a bit more skeptical. But we had the tap in and then we had the sweep, and then we had the push. And with the imbalance, let me mark out that. There's no real flip zone for me. Potentially it could have been this one, but huge imbalance below. I don't see it likely holding. So, yeah, I'll mark this up. We're really going high. This is the top of the daily point of interest. We're like 50% of the way through. Do we break out of this OB? Is that what might happen here? Is that too ambitious? Yeah, perfect. So what we wanted to do, I wanted to go out to the high time frame here. Let me just fix this up quickly. So it is a 3 pip. So we keep it on the edge. Okay. And now it's a bit tricky with targets. What I like to do once we get into like sort of no man's land kind of here, we're inside a daily point of interest. Let's have a look at the 4 hours. Okay, so we've got a 4 hour line. It's pretty right there. So that's going to be our target number 1. We can go full target, 7.8. That's pretty nice. So let's play this out. And we're going to sweep. Okay. Let's have a look. What are we coming into? Slightly touched. Little mini breaker structure. Still the extreme. There's this, but it's mitigated. There's that, but then now it's got... let's see. I'm not really happy with any of those. Okay. Let's stop there. We've got this. Push up, fail to the high. No chop yet. Well, honestly, we're in sort of daily, but the 4 hours just above, so I don't think we're going to cast this chop because I think we're in 4 hour imbalance right now. So let's play this out. Okay, that must have been on, when was that? Frankfurt Open. Looks like we got tagged in on Frankfurt Open. If it pauses. Oh. All right. Well, anyway, it looks like we missed another trade because my computer was lagging, but I'll mark it out for you guys. Yeah, I don't know what it is right now. My computer's just really lagging right now. It's super annoying. So we got our tag into that, and almost instantaneously we hit our target. Not instantaneously, what, 15, 30, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so then we got another break of structure. 15 minute. And essentially what we would have done, the only thing here, so all this liquidity filled the imbalance. This is the extreme. You see the flip zone, we got, no sweep, no sweep. So it's not valid. We need a liquidity sweep. So we just take the 15-minute extreme. Obviously, easy to say that now because it's sitting right in front, but that's how I trade. You know that if you watch the last video, you'll see that. I'm looking for those specific rules. I have them at the start of the video. I'm going to put them on there. And if it's not part of these specific rules, then it's not worth me trading just in terms of my data. So let's see if we would have gotten into this. So we would have gone long. First, we got to do like what we always do. We check the size. So hopefully this clears up this. I got a few people asking me about that. So we got 11.7. So this is one that I'm actually experimenting with. Whether it's better to go on the 45, which looks like we just would have got tagged, or we jump down to the 5-minute and have a look at the order block on there, which would be this one here. Pull that out. And we get our... It's pretty interesting. That's pretty hilarious right now. That the 5-minute order block edge is exactly almost where the 45 is. So that's pretty like confirmation there. Okay, either one would have worked. If you went down to the 5-minute and you entered on the edge, that would have been fine. The 45 would have been fine. So at this point, there's no actual extra data for me there. That really gives me any more clarity, as the 5 minutes was exactly almost where the 45. You might have got a slightly deeper entry on the 45. And what we would have done in this case, because we already touched the 4 hour, we would have been looking at first target would have been the break of structure. And then I probably would have moved stuff up with low time frame or followed my stop loss up, potentially on the 5-minute 5-minute breaks of structure, or even just, looking at, because we're expected like a 4-hour order block gets mitigated on the 50%. So potentially could either look just like going to the 45 or the 4-hour, just in case we mitigate it and then we reverse. So there's a few options when we get into like pretty far. We've already tapped this area. Even if you wanted to just go to the high probably break of structure, it's already 3.39. You could have it there. The thing is with this, it'd be like compounding at this point because we trade with breaks of structure, and now we've got a new one. And here's the extreme. And, I do like the look of this. Let me zoom in. Okay, so we've got a big sweep here. Tap. There's just the liquidity below. So have a look how it looks on the 5 minutes. Oh, the liquidity isn't there. This is like a super nice 5-minute flip zone. I don't really show you guys that much just because I want you guys to get the basics of it on the 15-minute. I would be very surprised if this didn't hold, just because it swept all this liquidity, led to the break of structure, pushed us up. This place is going to be defended. Potentially it goes to the extreme, which is still valid order block. We've got the sweep there and then like a little bit of balance still below. But due to the fact there's no imbalance, that could be a good play. So what we can do is we'll just see how it plays out. In terms of this strategy, I won't include it in the data just so, for you guys, it's like 100% transparent that, we're just entering on the 15-minute. This wouldn't be probably obvious to like early beginner traders as an area that they might be interested in, but I really like the way the 15 and 5-minute works together. So let's go back to the 15. Hey guys, I'm back. My camera stopped recording. So I'm just going to finish the video without a camera. Sorry about that. So where were we? We've just hit our take profit on that because we said around the 45 of the OB. So that's almost perfect on that. So what that was, 5.19. Let's mark up both these areas. I'm going to show you this one. This is that 5-minute flip zone that we're looking at. And this is the extreme. At this point, if the 4 hours is going to hold, then it should. If we go too much deeper, then, so our target's pretty much going to be breaking the highs, taking the liquidity. So let's see how big this is. 6.7. So we go on the 2.5. Perfect. We target the highs. If we lose this, then we'll set up for the extreme. Okay, tagged in. Hold on a second. We've got another break here. However, another break. Pushed up. Touch this one. Breaker structure. Did sweep this, caused the breaker structure. Let's see if there's any imbalance on the 5 minutes. I know from past experience that when we are looking to break out of these highs, it does get quite tight like this, but it does actually move quite nicely. We're going to be like super aggressive. That's like almost another trade here. But it would be like an add-on from this. It's like sort of a confirmation for breaking the high. So let's have a look. Obviously already tagged in. But we do this at like, probably a smaller percentage or something like that if we're going to take it, or we wouldn't take it at all if we were in the other one. Whoops, we wanted on the edge. Where are we at? 9.0. So we want to go on to 0.45. Bring it across. Okay. We're actually tagged into that as well. Okay, we had a sweep at the highs. There we go. So both, we got a 4.7 and a 5.3 hit profit. So we had this one, swept the highs, but we didn't get a chock. We finally got our break structure here. So actually, I will release that. I did a call for the FTR Discord group, which I'm a coach inside of, and we covered market structure and how I mark up market structure, and how I define what the new high is to break here as well. And so we wick this high. A lot of people would say as soon as we close above this high past this wick, that's closed. However, as soon as we failed around the highs, this is the new high that we need to break to show me that we've got power and this isn't just a liquidity sweep. So as soon as we closed above this, that was my breaker structure. However, it began back here. So this is the lowest point. It's not this is the lowest point. This isn't the structure. This isn't the bottom. This is the extreme. This is the lowest point because this is where the high started to bring the low, to fail the high, to bring a second low, to break the high. So this is the lowest point between the last high and the breaker structure. So this is our order block that swept liquidity, created imbalance, our extreme order block. There was no, I guess there was this flip zone order block here that, looks okay, but the fact that if we jump on the 5 minute time frame, this whole imbalances are here, all there, that's just asking for it to be taken and run for liquidity. So use the 15 minute and the 5 minute time frame in unison with each other. They work quite well together, especially with Euro USD. So just a little hint for you. So at this point, we're in no man's land. We've broken the highs. We've taken liquidity. This is pretty, aggressive one as well. Looks like we've already been tagged in. Let's see if it holds. Whoop, to the short. Long position. What were we at? 9.8. So under 10. We got the 4.5. Just move that a little for our spreads. At this point, we probably just target breaking the high, if that's enough, 3R, 4.2R, because, we could expect a pullback at any moment. This is a new 15-minute high that we're looking to break. So that's the highest probability of that being broken. And, yeah, we'll pretty much see what happens there. What day are we on? Thursday. All right, there we go. Did it pretty easy. Crazy. Such a bullish market. That's pretty much just what I was saying at the start. When you're in a bullish market, you just long the pullbacks until you're wrong. We haven't been wrong yet. It's not literally you could have one of these longs back here. If you, a swing trader, you could have got into a long on the 15-minute on this reversal back here. And as you're following up with market structure under the 15-minute market structure, you're now running 18R, pretty incredible. There's potentials there. It doesn't always play like this. No way, no how. But, Euro loves to run when it runs. Okay, here we have, this one's quite tricky. Nothing really, we had huge sweeps here and then this mitigated. So I'd like to have a look at the 5 minutes, see what that looks like. That was the main, this would be this would be like the extreme, but then it got mitigated. So we'd move over the extreme to this one. This is working in with the 5 minute. I'll have a look what it looks like on a 15. Big balance below. I don't really like anything here, so I'm not going to mark it up. Can still hold. Doesn't have to fill that imbalance, but just from my back testing, I guess that kind of concludes the imbalance. If we wanted to do, if that's on the 5 minutes, let's have a look. If we did that, might be what we wanted. You know how I said when it's too big, we go down to the 5 minutes. So there's 15. So let's go to the 5 minute and mark that out again. Perfect. So what we're going to check, the 5 minute is definitely more deeper. But so this one would be on the 45 if we're entering on the 15. So this is me experimenting, live in front of you guys. This is what I do. I notice stuff and then I put into practice and I collect data on it until the data makes sense or doesn't make sense, and then I can have a resolution. So we don't know, the high is not confirmed. So let's let this play out a little bit. Okay, so we've got a confirmed high there. So we wouldn't be taking both of these. This is me just experimenting with when we have big order blocks, what could be the potential best way to trade them. Our new 15 high, we'll pull that out pretty far. Our new 15 high, which we're targeting, we're bullish. This is our sweep, break of structure, some imbalance here. We had imbalance below, so I didn't want to take the flip zone. It can still hold, but it's just part of my rules, and I trade my rules. All right, there you go. The flip zone did hold. See, that's like I said, the rules, things can still happen outside of my rules. And don't think, why does he have these rules in place if I'm missing trades? Because, the data that I've gathered is that there's a high percentage it's going to sweep, then hold. Doesn't mean 100% it's going to sweep. It still does hold, obviously. You just saw it right there. But it doesn't always play out like that. Got to break a structure. For me, I don't really like how this looks. So there's not really a sweep. There's no imbalance. There's like barely a break of structure. So I wouldn't take a trade out of there, especially coming into how late it is. Oh, it's not that late, but okay, here we go. We got another break of structure. Doesn't even matter. We're just pumping up. Crazy. I'm trying to have a look now. We're in, like, how far is it to the next thing that I've marked out? Whoa, really far. Yeah, crazy. I think at this point, because I'm going to be quite conservative. So this is a really nice extreme. We've got the sweeper liquidity here that you can see. We've got imbalance. We've got a nice break of structure. Really beautiful. Going long. Pro trend. Don't ask questions. Let's have a look. Do we get a confirmed high somewhere? See how big this is. 7.5. Oh, 7.5. This is an interesting one, wasn't it? Between that 7 and 8, sometimes the 45 can be a little too deep. So I don't know. I think this is our confirmed high. At this stage, this is our target. We will target higher if we keep pushing higher. Okay. Got another push, sweep, break. This is super impulsive, hey. Sweep here. Probably going to take out that low, just the way it's sitting there. Check on the 5. Yeah, I think this low is going to be taken out. But it's kind of funny that I just say that. It's just, I know I can just see that that's not sitting right. It's going to take out something there low. The only thing I'm nervous about is this imbalance here, but it's not directly below. Let me have a look quickly on the 5 minutes again, see if it looks bad there. No, actually the imbalance on the 5 minutes quite much lower. So, and we swept this liquidity, we swept some of this liquidity. It's probably going to bounce out of this one, realistically, but I'll cover the whole area. Okay. Long position. 5.4, we'll go to 25. I do this anyway, even though I expect it to sweep this little low here. I do just follow my rules structured, because what if it doesn't sweep that low and it just taps to 25 and goes off, and then I've missed a nice trade because I am trying to, bend my rules a bit to get better targets. Okay, interesting. We kept on grinding up. See, this is directly below where my stop loss would be, so I'm not interested in that. And what's it getting to 9 o'clock at night? So I think I'll just leave that for now. Let's see what tomorrow brings. This is our 15 high at the moment. Okay. Interesting. Let me delete this for a second. Okay, this one got slightly tapped. Then we got a break of structure here. I don't really want to enter off any of that, to be honest. Maybe you could have. Maybe we're super bullish. Okay. We've then got, I guess, a chalk down, but, you know, where? You know, nothing. In no man's land here. So I'm going to ignore the chalk and look at what I have possibilities here. We've got this last one with imbalance. Let's see. Okay. Oh, let me push back up. Okay, now we got to break a structure again. I guess that's it. What's this? Swept the lows. Oh, let me have a look. Problem is we have this. Tricky. Imbalance right below. Now have a look in the 5 minutes. Yeah, it's imbalance right below. There's that. Balance. Yep. Okay, what we're going to do, this is another sandwich type entries. I will still, this was valid before and it is valid now for me. I'm not going to take an entry out of this one due to the fact of this huge imbalance below and my data showing that. So I will happily take one out of this actually. Because it was the valid one before we started messing around here. So let's have a look. I could be totally wrong, but okay, we've got a move up, got a slight little mitigation here, but nothing that's like screaming. We've got all this liquidity here, imbalance below. So, you know, potentially there's another type of chalk here, but we're still in the middle of nowhere. So okay, so we got a bit of a reaction out of here. We're coming down lower. Yeah, I think I'm in a perfect spot here. So this is the high. This is going to be cleaning up this liquidity. There's a liquidity line here. Filled the imbalance. Okay, we've got imbalance below here, but we've got all this resting liquidity. So the rule with imbalance is sort of like, you know, it's not directly below, but it's somewhere that's like inducements in terms of, you know, stop losses. You know, if there's no liquidity here, then I'd be more worried about that being taken. But yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, that's actually, I want to check something because I just knew this looked low. Whoa. Yeah, anyway, that was just for me. Okay, let's see what we get here. Oh, okay. Pause that for a second. We're in this one. And now we've got like an internal bullish chalk in our bullish momentum back. Let's have a look. I'm just going to take this one because, no, I'll take this one. Don't mind me. I don't know why I was going to do that. Another. Let's have a look. 6.0, so yeah, off to 2.5. This is our 15-minute high. Okay, we've hit our target. We swept it. So I'm not really that comfortable taking this trade because I wanted a break of structure. So this one hit target, 9.25. We need some resolution. We could get a reaction out of here, but it doesn't fit my thing. We didn't get a close above that level. So let's see how this plays out. Okay, would have got a tag in there probably. Okay, didn't just run the highs again. What I'm waiting for is something close above this, or some bearish. If we get this and a close below that, then potentially because we've got the chock here. Sorry, I didn't mark it out. We had a chock, but then we got a reverse chock. But if we broke below that, that would show me quite a big sign of weakness. So we would looking to go down. So we did get this spot. We rejected the top twice. So I guess building liquidity there to take. Okay, I guess not. What's the time? No. Yeah. No. Yeah. All right. So we're going to end the day in this range. Okay, no worries. Yeah. Crazy bullish week. Insane amount of opportunities. Crazy. I can't wait to tally that up and let you guys know the results at the end. I'll be back in a second to do that now. Hey everyone. So here are the results to get back. I want to go through and explain a few of these trades as well, just going a bit deeper to what I'm working on, especially the ones that aren't traditional entries off the nearest OB. They're based on one of my rules in my last video about imbalance below the order block, and something that I've been trying to look into how we can trade these different types of, and not just, because obviously generally we have the direction right. It's just if we have a balance below our order block, and we put our stop loss there, we can tend to get stopped out quite often. So what I'm going to look at the different situations that occur as how we can enter these. A couple that I've sort of identified here that I think I talked about a bit into the video as well, but I'll go over a bit more, is like a sandwich type setup. So I'll go over that a bit more in detail. But yeah, epic week. Pretty disappointed in myself. I ended up with 4R. Obviously, you can see 53R available. Pretty insane. Or literally one counter trend trade here, which it was a risky one. I did take that. That's actually one of the ones I think I got most of my profit in, counter trend. You could see my bias. I wanted to short the market, which is absolute rookie move. Had this bias in my head, unfortunately, thinking, look how high we're pushing up, look how high we're pushing up. We're getting to all these high levels, we're due for a pullback, instead of just taking what the market gave me. So I was really looking forward to going over this week, and it's taken me quite a long time to finish it, unfortunately. But yeah, 53R, 53%. If you're risking 1% your trade, even if you didn't take the counter trend, you're still 49% or 48%. Just trading with the trend, just longing every pullback. Essentially, what we did there, pullback long, pullback long, pullback long, 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 pull all the way up. Absolutely insane. Pretty disappointed in my trading, but we learn, we grow from it, and we get better. So let's go over it. We can grow together. So pretty much the first trade of the week. I think I did take this one. It was a couple of weeks ago now. Was pretty much we'd just taken some 4-hour liquidity. This line is a 4-hour high. We were in a 4-hour POI, and we ended up with 15-minute shock here. Really nice sweep with imbalance. Literally, we were in a 4-hour uptrend, so I was just looking for a trade down to the premium discount area here, which that's where my take profit is. I'm not expecting it to be the reversal here. If you're counter trend trading, you have to be very realistic with your take profits. So it did go a little bit lower, but not soon after we ended up with, this sort of chock situation. On the lower time frame would have been chock. I wasn't really that convinced until here, potentially. Realistically, I was looking over this again. It's not something I would have taken, because I really would have been looking for, to see this second area to really be where I take my long out of, because I want a confirmed close above this level here. And all we had was wicks. Another wick of this high, because this creates my new high. I'm like, okay, I need to close above that. Otherwise, this could just be a sweep. We could fail that run and go down. So this wouldn't have been anything except for this, and we never got to pull back into it. This was what I was just talking about at the start. So on my last video, I talk about flip zones, and I talk about the last valid order block leading into the break of structure. And what I described as a valid order block was the 6 rules that I have in that video. So I'll link in the description, go back and have a watch, and you'll see that this had about 5 of those rules. It had a sweep of liquidity, it created imbalance, it broke structure. It was essentially the flip zone or the order block before we broke structure. However, we had this imbalance below, which is a no-go for me because over time, over my backtest, I've seen that leads to, being swept. It's sort of like an inducement zone, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. But it, a lot of the time, if there's not a lot of liquidity resting above it, it can mean that it's going to be like your stop loss will get swept if it's sitting in this area. So what I've noticed over some backtesting and just, not unrecorded backtesting, not on video, I mean, is there's a sandwich setups. So we have valid order block almost, 5 out of 6, imbalance below. Now we have, this is a fully valid one. We have the sweep of liquidity here. You can see the lows of this one got swept. And so this is the candle, wick is lower. It'll look even better on the 5 minute, but that's quite a good way to see, it's taken out some lows. We've pushed up with imbalance. Essentially it is almost a flip zone. However, we do have this in the way. So it's a bit of a confusing one, not so obvious, but I would consider it actually the flip zone because it's the only imbalance one. There's not imbalance directly below. There is a little bit here, but not directly below where your stop loss is going to sit. And also there's quite a lot of liquidity above here to be taken with the stop losses that will be sitting taking this order block. So we got the sandwich set up. I guess it's order block, imbalance, order block, and pro trend. And so what we're doing is we're essentially expecting it to come into this bottom one, take all this liquidity here and fill the imbalance and go. So that's how I took this one. I'm recording imbalance size because there's also some cases where the imbalance is quite small and potentially it's just able to just cover that with my stop loss. However, in this case, the imbalance is quite large. And with this order block here, it's almost like, okay, do I need to cover my stop loss? If I want to enter on this top one, I have to cover my stop loss all the way down here. Is it really worth the trade anymore because the R&R is such reduced? So this is actually, I'm backtesting it further to see if this is a really quality setup I can include in my trading. Right now, it's looking really good because we had a second example of it in this week. So I'm going to keep moving forward. That one was quite a conservative target. We targeted just this daily point of interest. And obviously, it went much higher. So just following the trend, break structure, pullback, valid flip zone, sandwich setup. We had very impulsive move all the way up. Okay, so this would have been quite a tricky trade to get. It's just like a mini break of structure after this huge move. Wasn't that confident with it because it was such a small pullback. However, also valid. However, after such a big move, potentially it could come to hunt liquidity. But that just shows you following the trend is priceless. Like you could say this is a 15. It is. This is pullback. We've got a break of structure. There's our last one. It had a little bit of sweep here. I think that's why I left it because there was still some, liquidity here. And after such a big move, I still had in my head this bias of, where maybe we're just over bullish. So then after that, we had a nice break of structure that held. We had a really good sweep here. We had mitigated pretty much and then swept it again to like double mitigate it, pushed up to break, left this imbalance. Really nice. Small order block. So we said we enter on the edge and we're literally just targeting. I'm pretty sure this was like a daily high. Very conservative, but we know as soon as we hit these sorts of levels, we can have big rejections. Realistically, the highest win rate is just targeting the next break of structure. But when you have major areas like this, it can also work in your favor. So essentially, it pretty much hit this, wicked it, and after that break of structure, we're going to pull back straight into our next demand zone. Oh, sorry. And we pretty much just had on the extreme here, entering on the 45 due to the size of it. And I'm pretty sure this must be like an imbalance or what. There must be a 4-hour point of interest. I'm trying to think what we targeted here. Let me just zoom out quickly. I think my chart may have removed a couple things. Yeah, it was imbalance. Imbalance or 4-hour POI. Sorry, it's been a week. Yeah, so we were just like pretty much for this to get 50% mitigated because we know, okay, once this is 50% mitigated, this would have been a 4-hour POI. I just don't have it on the screen anymore, sorry. Okay, we could maybe expect a pullback and a chock. So we don't want to, obviously it went further and further, but we're still being conservative and not being greedy and just letting it all go back on us. So then we had this. This is a small pullback here on the flip zone, which you can find on the 5 minutes. You can include this or not if you didn't want to,
trade this on the 15 due to this imbalance below. So it doesn't have to be included. I'll just show you what I meant on the 5 minutes here. Okay. So yeah, as you go on the 5 minutes, you can see that there isn't actually imbalance here. And so that was where I got this entry from. It's quite a bit advanced. It's definitely worth. I really like to use the 5 minutes and 15 minutes together to get an idea of whether the imbalance is, on both or just one. And it gives me a bit more faith in these type of trades. Especially it was sort of something with retail trading. It was sort of like you look at this daily zone, almost like a flip of resistance into support. So, these do play along. You see a lot of this, if we're super bullish, you see all these different traders that trade resistance as well. You got a little bit more to push the market up, but I wouldn't count on that. Just like a little bit of, extra knowledge there. It's not necessary. So if you're not comfortable taking that one, especially with the rules, or you don't want to go down to lower time frames, you don't have to include that one. Very aggressive trading, but, it's such a high uptrend. Obviously, like I said at the start, you're better off trading with the trend until you lose than going counter trend until you win, which is a hard lesson to learn. And I think it happens to a lot of people, even to me. Well, I didn't trade. I didn't take so many counter trend trades. I was just waiting for them. And in the meantime, waiting, missing all the pro trend trades, unfortunately. But alas. So pretty much that one targeted just the high of this 4-hour POI because I was assuming, now we're very in no man's land. So if we look left, all around this area, it's like imbalance, or it's just not that relevant anymore. I'm more looking at, different sorts of potential prices at different, like zeroed numbers, but quite a tricky thing to do when we get into these open areas is for targeting. So I like to be more conservative than aggressive personally, just how I trade, because I know the market gives many opportunities to get in and out. So pretty much, again, we had a 15-minute break of structure here. We just had the extreme on this one, or, we literally just have one OB. So we don't have to, one OB that took these lows. We still have imbalance here that's pushed up, and we take it up to the same point. Again, we didn't get the break here until up here, the way I marked structure out. We got the wick, and then finally had a break above the high. Again, we had this 15-minute POI that swept liquidity, still had some imbalance there, broke structure, and we got to tap into it. At this point, I'm just targeting the next break of structure because I know that's the highest probability win rate. So I had a bit of the flu the last few days, so if I sound a bit nasally, I apologize in advance. It was a bit run down. That's why it's taken me a bit to get this video out, unfortunately. So just the weather's been crazy over in Europe. It was super hot and then got really cold, and I think it just messed with me a little bit. So what's the next one? We moved up. We were so impulsive. We didn't get any of these pullbacks until finally we got a bit of a move up, a pullback here. Not really any structure here that I was that interested in trading due to the fact is we had this one had our imbalance below. So potentially we had like a decent little sandwich set up here. However, it did play out this time and pushed up, but this was all in spread hours and Asian session that I don't trade, so it wasn't a big deal for me. You actually see I do a video about this trade soon that I will release as well, that I actually took this trade, but I managed it very poorly, unfortunately. But I'll explain this too. It's very similar to the sandwich setup that I've been noticing. We had a push up and break of structure. We had like a mini break of structure here, so potentially there's a chock. But again, we're in sort of no man's land here if we look left. I would zoom out, but I know that we're in just like high time frame imbalance, not really any POIs. I would have them all marked out here. So, are we looking for chock? I was, unfortunately. However, just because I had this unfortunate bias, but we were backtesting. This is a sandwich. We have our 15-minute POI, the extreme, that led to the break of structure with imbalance. However, we have this imbalance below here. We also have another POI right below the imbalance that swept some liquidity, created the imbalance, broke some structure here. Here's sandwich type setup. So we're going to enter off the lowest. If we enter off this, we're going to get swept. We're guaranteed to get swept, but due to probabilities is much lower here. So we've noticed this is a big imbalance. It'd be too much to cover our stop loss over there. Now we enter off the bottom one. Maybe it holds here and goes up. But, okay, we've missed a trade. But from my percentages, I know that it's, even if we sweep into this imbalance and go up, we've not taken a loss. We've not taken a win, but we've protected our capital, which is very important. But with this sandwich setup, especially when it's a nice valid POI, it ticks all the boxes right below this imbalance, because it means you've got liquidity here, liquidity here. So even if there's a bit of balance below, there's a chance that this is enough stop losses and liquidity for the market to pick up, tap into this order block and keep moving up, which is what happened here. From there, it was very unclear. We literally had just a sweep of the highs. We had a hold of the lows, but then we had a hold of the highs, so we just started to range, and that pretty much saw us out for the rest of Friday. So really awesome week in terms of potential opportunities if you were trading the strategy better than I did. I know a few people got some wins, but I know a lot of people I talked to were expecting this pullback, unfortunately, and we got caught up in looking for chocks and reversals and everything like that and missed a lot of these winners moving up. Still can't complain. Ended up with a bit over 1.1% for the week, but after seeing what was available, a little bit disappointing, but that's why we go back to the drawing board. That's why we do these reviews, and that's why we, not make changes, but really do these reviews and see what could we done better and note them down and, create accountability for ourselves, so this doesn't happen again. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys learned a lot. Let me know if you want to see anything else. Comment down below if you didn't understand anything. I'm going to run a bit more back testing. Super busy right now trying to get through that. Also looking at AUD USD because I really like it around that London Open time, about an hour before, an hour after. Really works with the strategy well. And we'll explore this imbalance sandwich set up a little bit more and bring you some more examples of that. So let me know in the comments below if you want to see anything. If you really enjoyed this video and want to support me, subscribe, like, share this with your friends and family or whoever that's interested in trading. And yeah, any feedback's welcome. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys in the next one.